Welcome back, and today we're going to continue. This will be episode 5, and we're going to be talking about the knowledge. Knowledge is going to play a big part as we go into the Living Flame of Love, John of the Cross, SMI ICS publication, 1979. And the church, we want to understand how the church approaches matters. The mindset, the forma mentis of the church, the mindset of the church. And disciples, those who follow this Carmelite rule, this order, acknowledge that the church has gathered the teachings of Jesus Christ. And they've put all those teachings in 3 categories. Very simple. 3 categories. It will work wherever you're at in Carmel. And the first category is what to believe. The teachings of Christ on what to believe. There is a second category for our purposes, the teachings of Christ on how to act. And there's a third category. They've gathered the teachings of Christ on how to perfect one's actions. The knowledge on what to believe, how the gathering of those teachings, what to believe, that category is dogmatic theology, what to believe. How to act, that is moral theology. How to perfect one's actions is considered spiritual theology. Within that category, there are 2 divisions, spiritual theology. There's ascetical theology and mystical theology. Ascetical theology is the negative approach to God. God is not this, not that, not that, and by that process of elimination, we end up with God. Mystical theology is where one has the positive approach to God. You're in love with God. You have the desire for God. You have the desire for God greater than you have for the potato chips, greater than you have for a number of appetites. It is the positive approach to God. Our teachings, our doctor, John of the Cross is the mystical doctor on the mystical way to union with God. Again, we're talking about knowledge. It's a basic concept at a very basic level. Within this spiritual life, within this category they call the spiritual theology, there's generally 3 approaches that Carmel takes. Some orders can divide it into more than 3. Carmel divides it, there's a consensus. There is the purgative way, the illuminative way, and the unitive way. Let me repeat that. There is the purgative way, the illuminative way, and then the unitive way. Father Thomas Dubé, rest in peace, who was an announcer for EWTN, a teacher, preferred to talk about the first conversion, the second conversion, and the third conversion. But he was prepared to teach, when he taught John of the Cross, on the purgative, the illuminative, and the unitive. But his preferences were, and you'll listen to those tapes again at EWTN, and you'll hear him talk about the first conversion, a deeper conversion, the second, and then the third conversion. I want to leave you with some hope as you go through these basic introduction tapes to Carmel. John of the Cross wrote for people who are in a hurry. They want to get to their lover or the beloved, or they want to commit to this desire, this experience of God. They want to know more. So it's for people who are in a hurry. So I'll tend to use bullet points. We can flesh this out in follow-up tapes. Right now, this is sort of a Series 101 basic. You need no experience. You come here, you need no background. That's the goal. I want you to think about an acorn, and I'll come back to this and I'll develop it. No matter what background you have, you may think that you're unworthy. We're all unworthy. No matter what background you have, we're all sinners. Consider the acorn. And I'll get into that a little bit later on about a story about the acorn. But the acorn could be very dirty, could have lots of filth on it, could be amongst pigs, have the excrement of pigs on it. But one day, you and I will walk into the forest and see one of the largest oak trees in that forest. And we will know that that large oak tree came from an acorn, and that acorn may very well have been filthy, dirty. So the circumstances, once that acorn sprouts new life, there is a transformation, a change in levels of being. Levels of being. That transformation has taken place. So if you come here and you have an interest, pursue some of these basic tapes. It doesn't matter how bad you are. I'm a sinner, you're a sinner. Let's get that off the table right quick. And let's say it doesn't matter as we progress through these tapes, okay? Basic 101, the knowledge. The knowledge, dogmatic theology, moral theology, mystical theology. We're talking about how to perfect one's actions, the ascetical approaches, the negative approach to God, the positive approaches, and John of the Cross is going to be on that map of knowledge where we talk about the category of teaching of Jesus Christ from the Gospels in the area of mystical theology, how one develops, nurtures that desire for God, how one avoids the appetites that can interfere with that desire for God and grows in that desire of God and grows in union. Has union with the Trinity. It's Trinitarian union. Carmel is about Trinitarian union. We hope you'll stick with the basic tapes and listen to us. I'm repeating myself. Let me make sure I follow my notes. Okay here. Evangelical note. I want to leave a little barb in there each time. Evangelical, the new evangelization of John Paul II, Pope Benedictus XVI. We have now Pope Francis. Ultimately, it's the gift of self that we're making. You're listening here, you'll want to make a gift of yourself to God. God's going to receive that gift and reflect it back out to others. He may say for you to spend the rest of your life in the library, maybe as a Carthusian, maybe he's going to say you're a busy traffic cop, be safe and out there and direct traffic. But it is the gift of self, and that gift of self is what's needed that will bring about that holiness, that transformation. It's what's needed for our culture and our times today. Your personal sanctification is the best gift you can give to your spouse, your children, your neighbors, your family. Best gift you can give. Take a look at Gaudium et Spes. That's a document from Vatican II, the Council, Gaudium et Spes, chapter 22 and 24. Chapter 22 and 24, it'll talk about the gift of self, and it'll nest that idea in a nice little paragraph. Do a much better job than I can here on the 3, 4, 5 minutes I'm giving each one of these tapes. Okay? We'll come back then.